Are you ready? Stand by.
Hey everybody, I'm Dave Hartman, and welcome to the Three Gun Show, the world's largest three-gun podcast. This is episode 245 with special guest Adam Maxwell. This is another road trip podcast that we did on our way to the North American Sniper Championship. This is actually part 2, so some of the stuff that we're talking about lacks a little bit of context. That is because you haven't listened to part 1 yet, which is the match recon of the Magpul Texas Three-Gun Championship. And Patreon supporters of the Three Gun Show will get to listen to that one this Friday, the Friday after this is released, so just a couple days from now. If you want to get in on that, you can join Patreon and support the Three Gun Show at patreon.com/threegunshow. That's patreon.com/threegunshow. So for this podcast, we chat about a couple of topics that are important to the three-gun community, and we share our thoughts and experiences as a couple of shooters that have been playing this game for a while. And we wax a little bit nostalgic about some things, too, about the early days of us getting into guns, the early days of us shooting three-gun. So the third topic, I basically share I guess that's the first topic. The first topic, I share a silly story about why I sometimes call Magpul Magpal instead of Magpul. It's kind of silly, but we get past that one pretty quick, and we talk about a very important topic at the last one here, which is volunteerism. So hope you listen in, hope you enjoy the podcast, and let us know your thoughts in the comments. Wherever you see this, you can do it at threegunshow.com. You can do it on the Facebook, on the Instagram, wherever is convenient for you. Let us know what you think. One more thing before we get started. At the 2018 SHOT Show, a listener from New Zealand came up to me at the Brightest Shotguns booth and gave me a gift. Unfortunately, I don't recall your name, but I still have the gift, and it's in the Three Gun Show studio, which is where I'm recording this now. If that was you, please email me, dave@threegunshow.com. I would like to talk to you about your current situation and the competitive shooting climate in New Zealand for obvious reasons. I think that would be an interesting topic. So please email me, dave@threegunshow.com, if you were the New Zealander that gave me the gift at SHOT Show 2018. All right. Now, enjoy this way too late to be recording a podcast discussion with my road trip partner, Adam Maxwell. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our drive to 2019 Sniper Fest.
That's not the name of it.
Oh, it's not? What is it?
No. It's the North American Sniper Challenge.
There we go. North American Sniper Challenge is where AMAX and I are heading. And
who can shoot faces the best?
Yeah, we're going to be shooting some sniping. I'm excited. Excited
to be sniping?
It's past my bedtime.
Yeah.
And we're still on the road. We're in the Vortex Ford, and we're making our way down the highway, freshly fueled with air. Adam,
yes.
How do you feel about paying for air?
I feel like it's just wrong on principle to have to pay for compressed air.
Mm-hmm. And why is that?
It's just, I don't know. Like, it's been free for so long. Why do we have to swipe our card now for air? Like,
much like the Three Gun Show.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron Tippin said it best, all right? Man's got to stand for something. You're going to fall for anything. And I choose to stand for free air. Free air for all is what I believe in. Yeah.
How many air compressors do you own?
Ooh, currently?
Yes.
I'll claim 2.
And how much free air have you provided in the last 6 months?
I have provided, so like given to somebody else?
Yes.
I have fulfilled 100% of the requests for free air.
Wow. That was a good one.
Everyone who has asked has received free air.
You heard it here, folks. Heard it here first, folks. If you need free air
for all.
Hey, Max is your guy.
That's the platform I'm standing on.
Yep. If you're at a match and you're out of air, AMAX will help you out.
Breathe it in, blow it out.
If you're not at a match, AMAX will help you out. Just give him a call. His
Call
number is
721-594-3872.
all right. That's what you call for free air. All right, AMAX, got a couple little things I want to talk about here, and we're still not quite to our main topic,
Deep thoughts.
which is the North American Sniper Challenge.
Which we have no idea what it entails.
Right. Do we want to get into that one right now?
I mean, we could.
Could.
It's up to you.
Let's postpone that one.
I mean, you're the host.
So earlier we were recording a Patreon podcast of the match recon of the 2019 Magpul Texas 3-Gun Championship, and I accidentally said Magpal.
As in a magazine that's your friend.
Yes, just like that. And I said, I'll tell you that story later. So have I really not told you the story?
No.
Okay,
I don't know
so
what you're talking about.
long time ago, before Dave ever discovered 3-Gun,
There was life before 3-Gun?
there was life before 3-Gun. Dude, this is pre-Instagram, and not pre-Dave had Instagram, pre-Instagram.
It's not a thing yet.
Not a thing. There was Facebook.
And that is
So-
where you shared your pictures.
Right, but only with your family, not with strangers that wanted to fight you over your photos,
Right.
which is what Facebook is now.
You at least had to feign acquaintance.
Yes,
Mhm.
and sometimes see them in real life, so you really never said anything bad about people.
Right.
Right. Okay, so there was. This is like the dawn of like me getting into into the AR-15 platform and everything. So I had built my AR-15. Oh, I should show you that. Oh no,
Fully semi-automatic?
you're not dropping me back by my house. I should have showed you that when we were there. Yeah, the OG was fully semi-automatic, and it was 16-inch carbine length gas. Had
Full
the
90-degree throw.
had
on that selector.
the Magpul front grip in OD. Had the Mo stock in OD. It had the M-Bus backup sight in OD. Right, OD
Man.
green. But
Two-tone.
right, but I bought a bunch of GI mags
Yes.
because at the time they were cheaper than PMAGs, and according to the the collective internet knowledge that I sought out at the time, they were PMAGs were not not as reliable as GI mags.
You know, I much felt the same way when I first got into ARs. I wasn't sure this whole polymer thing was going to catch on.
Yeah, it's true, and it kind of did. And
Well,
like
boy,
now,
were we wrong.
I primarily use polymer. While I have a bunch of GI mags, I cannot recall the last time I put one in my own rifle.
I maintain an inventory of GI mags strictly for clone purposes. I mean,
You are a clone nerd.
yeah, I'm trying to impersonate people who are roughly my age or older that went overseas, and I need the real mags,
Right. Makes sense.
at least for the pictures.
All right, so in the woods shooting with my buddies, and one of our friends had a Magpul PMAG, and at the time, the Magpul Dynamics videos were out, right? So that's where
yes.
I became aware of their handguards and their stocks, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I knew that there was black, there was OD green, there was flat dark earth, and I think that's it. I think that's all there was.
Yep.
And
It was pre-urban gray.
ooh, that's part of the story.
It was a different time.
So, one of the guys had a gray magazine, a gray PMAG.
What?
Yeah. And so we were looking at it, and like a bunch of monkeys. Like, have you ever seen 2001: A Space Odyssey? When like the big monolith comes down to Earth, and like the monkeys are like trying to break into it and stuff, and they're like banging on it with bones.
I can fathom it.
That was us with this this gray Magpul PMAG. We're like, what is this? Yeah, exactly. So little did we know that LaRue Tactical had contracted with Magpul to make a run of their furniture. The stocks, the grips, the handguards,
Mhm.
and
Innovators
PMAGs.
before their time.
and PMAGs in what they called urban dark earth, or OOD, as it's effectively or affectionately known.
That was poor marketing.
Yeah.
On that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I might be wrong on that because we have no internet right now, but I remember the acronym being OOD. But it was I think it was Urban Dark Earth or something like that, and it was like a gray, but it's not like what is the one now, the sniper gray?
Sniper gray.
Yeah, it's
Urban
not
gray.
It's not the sniper gray that there is now. It was like a different kind of gray, but it was outstanding in the fact that nothing we had ever seen looked like it. So we of course we questioned him, like, where'd you get it? And of course, friend of a friend of a friend.
Doesn't even have to write his name on it because it's his.
Exactly. So we questioned him on where he got it. The story doesn't line up. And so we just kind of assumed, like, maybe this is or we started teasing him that it was a knockoff Magpul magazine. Clearly it was a Magpul magazine, looked exactly like the other ones, but it was in a different color. So in order to differentiate what we were teasing him for being a knockoff PMAG, we started calling it a Magpal PMAG. like the Dr. Pepper, and then there's the Dr. K that you would get from Kroger.
Dr. Thunder.
Dr. Thunder, and then the Mountain Dew was the Dewdrop. So we decided that his PMAG was Magpal, a Magpal PMAG, and that stuck ever since. And you probably heard me say it on a podcast a bunch of times because I let it slip, but that was a bad habit to pick up because now every time I think Magpul, I think Magpal, unfortunately. So that is my Magpal PMAG story.
It's a heartwarming tale.
Which is kind of funny because now there is just a ton of stuff that knocked off Magpul's design, both legitimate and illegitimate. There's a lot of airsoft crap out there that purports to be genuine Magpul stuff that you can buy on eBay and Amazon, stuff like that.
Well, I think it's kind of what I like about that story is it's kind of nostalgic because it wasn't that long ago. Because at the end of the day, we're not that old.
Yeah.
But if you think
2010.
back, yeah, if you think back, gosh, has it been 10 years already?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm having an old moment here. Just hold on, 1 second.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the early 30-year-old.
My mortality. But you think back and accessories that they even came in green or FDE was wow.
Dude, when you didn't have the God, what is the name of the stock?
CTR?
No, the military issued one. What do they call that one?
The A2?
No, it's the adjustable one.
Oh, yeah.
Cars?
Oh, the car. Yeah, okay.
Car,
yeah,
right?
Car. The car stock. Yep.
What does that stand for?
Colt automatic rifle.
Yeah, there we go. So it's the car adjustable stock. If you didn't have one of those, that was unique. That was that you stood out. Whoa.
Yeah.
Where did you get that stock?
Yeah.
Why would you have something that's not normal?
I mean, you weren't. Yeah, I was I had the car stock on my M&P 15, and then I watched the Magpul Dynamics videos, and I was like, oh, I need that triangle stock in my life.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so beautiful.
It was.
And it wasn't black. And I've never been a big fan of the shade of black, so I was like, why does because it's not a color, why does everything have to be black in guns? Here was something that was not black, a chance to turn my gun not black. I had to get on that. And now when you just look at AR accessories now, there are other companies that have branched out with their own ideas, and they offer them in a myriad of colors.
Yeah.
And
it's
interesting
because I've kind of gone full circle. I started out with OD green, like that, because everything should be OD green if it's going to be a color.
Yep.
And then I've kind of gone full circle, and now I'm back to black on everything. I don't know why that is.
I'm kind of just entered my Krylon phase. I just got brave enough to paint something.
Yeah.
And it didn't turn out terrible.
Well, it's good. It's good. By the
But-
way, you don't need to look at me when we're talking. You can definitely look at the road.
You know, I like to glance longingly once in a while. Just kind of like, yeah, we're talking.
So the Krylon thing is interesting. I had a thought recently. You know, how we like set our rifles on like the staging table.
Yep.
And they're sitting out in the sun.
Yep.
And you pick it up and you get that nice cheek weld.
Yep.
And now it's hot.
Yep.
What if you had a white or a flat dark earth, an FDE
Mm-hmm.
stock and a grip? Would that not
It's not as
be
hot.
cooler? Yeah.
It's not as hot. That's why my Vepr is not a dark color.
It's tank green or bazooka green.
Yeah, but it's not black.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Huh. So it's just slightly lower on the
Right.
solar absorption.
yeah. Dumb, I know, but seemed like a good idea at the time.
Flat dark earth could be a little better, I think.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too, like, you know, going back to the nostalgia thing, is we had that big polar vortex in February.
Right.
Not, pardon the pun, but like it got ridiculously cold. As one of my colleagues pointed out, there was a 110-degree difference between the inside of his window and the outside of the window on his house.
Oh, that's crazy.
Anyway, so it was freaking cold up here, all right, even by our standards. Like, you know, I mean, Texans stay inside when it gets to be 40, but
Yeah, that's for sure.
we need a minus in front of that before we like, hey, maybe the mail doesn't go through today. Anyway,
Maybe we don't let the kids play on recess.
yeah. Maybe we do inside recess today. So anyway, I while that was going on, I went back into the archives of my laser discs.
You have laser discs?
Actually, they're DVDs.
Oh.
And I found those Magpul Dynamics videos that I have watched so many times, but I haven't watched them in, I'll say 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years.
Did you watch them?
Yeah, so I went and watched them, and that's also kind of trippy looking back at like when the only cans were AAC
Yeah.
and everybody had quad rails
Yeah.
and they weren't all full length.
Quad rails is crazy. You know what's kind of funny about watching those videos now, especially the handgun video,
Yeah.
is I personally know some of those people now. Like I've met them like at SHOT Show and other functions.
Oh, like the Endpoint guy?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then, well, yeah,
I met Steve Fisher at some point. I got
Drake.
an argument with Steve Fisher on Instagram one
I'm
time.
going to meet him in July. I'm looking
Drake?
forward to that.
That'd be cool.
No, Steve Fisher.
Oh,
I already sent him the scope. So
tell him I'm sorry what I said on Instagram.
I hope he likes it. But yeah, just looking back at like, I mean, Costa's shooting a full-length Knight's Armament.
Yeah.
You know, 16-inch gun with a PEC on it before I even knew what that was.
And now everything is SBR'd, right?
Yeah.
Like they had and there was one video where they were actually shooting rifles with the plastic handguards, not a rail, not a free float handguard.
Mm-hmm.
That I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
'Cause, like,
or Ready Mags.
Yeah, Ready Mags.
Ready Mags.
Yeah.
That was a thing.
Ready Mag seems like it would still be like a functional thing if it was like a duty rifle or something like that.
Yeah. Or they referred to the bad lever as an experimental device.
Oh.
Like it wasn't even a product yet.
Yeah.
They were still playing with it.
It's one of those things they should have killed in the lab.
Yeah, well, you know. they were pro-life. But yeah, so I watched some of those DVDs the other day. That was kind of a trip. When they still had hair that wasn't gray. Watching Costa kind of turn into Hackathorn, and it's kind of sad.
Is it? I think it's good, man. It's better than the alternative.
Well, that's
Get
true.
hit by a bus.
That's true.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, yeah, a little walk down memory lane there. I think that's it's kind of an interesting sort of progression. But I got to say, like, after the the 2012 legislation that went through in Colorado, which we had, mag bans and universal background checks and blah, 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 blah. and Magpul stood up in a huge way and came out to defend Colorado's rights. Like I'm fanboy for life there.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see too, in light of that recent legal decision on California, if that will trickle back to your homeland.
Yeah, I mean, so they say so goes California, so goes the country.
Yeah.
Eventually on everything, but
I mean, it's super preliminary at this point. I think that was like just announced today.
Yeah, it's like
so there's
Friday.
Speculation abounds.
Yeah,
But
well, and I think it's going to need to. So I don't think we're in the same district, or I don't think Colorado's in the same district.
yeah,
So I think it would need to hit SCOTUS to actually do anything in Colorado. But I think Colorado's a lost cause at this point, based on some of the legislation my buddies were telling me about this weekend that just went through and is pending, and it's turning bad. It looks
Yeah.
like
looks like they're gonna run out of other people's money to spend really fast.
yeah, and which is funny because they have like all the marijuana tax revenue, and if you can outspend what people will spend on marijuana as a government entity, like you are exceptionally. I'm sorry. I'm trying to bite my tongue here. How can I say this nice? You are just. I struggle for the words.
Beyond your means. But we're getting too political. What was the
Yeah.
next thing we wanted to talk about?
Speaking of politics, limited division. So
Yes.
let me set this one up because people weren't with us in the last hour.
Yes.
So, the Magpul Texas 3-gun championship limited division was limited again. And this is something I've been talking about on the show for quite some time, is that we need some sort of reasonable this is ironic to talk about this right after a mag ban, but we need some sort of like reasonable restrictions on shotgun capacity, maybe rifle capacity, maybe pistol capacity in limited to further differentiate limited from tactical optics. Because as it sits right now in most of the games that we play, you have the same shotgun, the same pistol, the same rifle, and the only thing that's different is that in limited you have a 1x optic, and in tactical optics you have a 1x to Y optic, right? So it could be 1 to 6, 1 to 4, 1 to 8, et cetera, et cetera.
Whatever kind of crazy number they cook up next.
Yeah. So that seems kind of odd that they're so close together. And then, we can have a D60, a 60-round drum mag on both tactical optics and limited and open. So, like, how... I mean, everything's getting, like, too stinking close together. There needs to be some more lines drawn. And I think I know the reason that there aren't lines drawn is, like, we don't really have, like, a sanctioning body. And we as match goers and match putter runners just kind of go with, like, the flow of, like, whatever comes next. It's not in the rules. It's legal. We don't care. We're moving on to the next thing that's more important. Right? So what is your opinion, Adam, as an accomplished limited shooter with the Texas 3-gun championship putting an 8-round capacity limit on your magazine tube, 32-round magazine capacity limit on your rifle magazine, and that's basically it. No coupled mags, by the way. What's your thoughts?
So, I guess my thought on that is that it biases stage planning towards the pistol, in a way that I don't like, because they put limitations on everything else except the pistol.
Right.
So
the reason that they didn't do that at the Texas 3-gun championship is it's not easy to check pistol capacity for an RO, right? So it's all in your honor system, which is one of the complaints that some people had about the 3-gun nation rules, is that it's 15 rounds in the magazine of the pistol, and you can have base pads and things like that, but how do you check
I think that was fairly obvious there because a 15-shot array is basically 7 targets. So if somebody's really hammering away without doing a reload, it's like, all right, that's you're cheating.
Right.
So I see what they're saying, and that it's harder to check. I think it's kind of weak sauce reasoning. I feel I'll say it. I feel like that's the conclusion somebody who was preferential towards a pistol would make.
Right.
Whereas if I to do the inverse would be like, well, I think we should have 15 round, or even I think we should have 10 round limits on pistol magazines so that it's a level playing field with the shotguns. So like, it's a little bit closer to the capacity you have on a shotgun, so 1 for 1.
I'm not buying that argument.
I know
because they're not an equal trade.
Correct, but the same argument applied in inverse doesn't stand. So why does it work for the pistol?
What?
So if you were to reduce capacity on the pistol to bring capacity to what a shotgun is capable of, even a standard TO shotgun, that argument doesn't stand. So, but it's okay if we let the pistol have fairly unrestricted magazine capacity, but we're going to cap the capacity on the shotgun, which limits the viability of a shotgun in a stage plan because it is.
I got you now.
Because it is round limited. If you could shoot an array with a pistol or a shotgun, by limiting shotgun capacity, you further tip the scale in favor of a pistol shooter.
Okay, I got you now.
You've shackled the shotgun skilled shooter.
Right. So what would be like your ideal limited situation if we put you in charge of the rule sets?
If I was in charge of the rules, you're not gonna like this. I kind of liked them the way they were before.
Revolvers?
Yes. Yep.
Blunderbusses?
686 for everybody. I kind of liked them the way they. I liked it when it was TO with an unmagnified optic.
Tactical optics with an unmagnified optic?
Essentially, yeah. The thing you don't like.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about TO division.
Yeah, no, that's the thing you don't like.
It's late here, kids.
Yeah, but so I kind of liked it that way. But
why? What's the difference?
Because as the game was evolving at that time to the longer tubes, so we were evolving away from the flush fit 8-round tubes to like, it's an advantage to have a 12-round tube. Like, we were all drunk on shotgun power at that time.
Well, that was a slip of the rules.
Yeah,
that was a loophole that everyone went through.
Yeah.
And no one took, except for Andy Horner, took measures to reel that one back in.
Right. But we were the drunken fools up north who were doing these crazy long shotgun, jungle run stages.
Right.
So we were intoxicated by the awesome power of ripping 12-round strings with our shotguns just at a cyclic rate, So that was fun. That was good fun at the time.
Well,
so when you took that away from me, I was kind of sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had this conversation with Garrison England when we were doing the patrol division at Colorado 3-Gun Championship, because we had 8-round magazines there with pump shotguns, and he kept saying, this is get ready to load. This is going to be a load fest. Like, no, we're going to load the exact same amount as TAC Ops will. We're just going to do it in different places at different times.
Yep.
So all those rounds still have to get in your shotgun.
Yeah. So I liked, if I had to accept a limitation, on the division to differentiate, like the premise of the conversation is. I agree with the 30-ish round magazine, so like a mag gauge limit on the AR magazine.
Yeah, and that's what you're gonna have to do is do a gauge because
when they went to the 32, it's like, okay, so a standard-ish size mag.
Well, the 32 kind of bums me out because only one company makes a 32, but every one of their brother makes a 30.
Right.
Like you can go now and find 50 to 60 different types of 30-round PMAG. And like I've seen one Daniel Defense 32-round mag
on the range.
Mm-hmm.
That, yeah, I've seen. No, I guess 2, but it was owned by the same guy. Does that count?
No.
So,
But so I'm good with that limitation in spirit of differentiation. I'm not opposed to the eight round restriction. I mean, my favorite length that I was ever at was 10.
mm-hmm.
So an 8 or a 10 round shotgun cap would be all right with me. And then I liked 3-Gun Nation's capacity at 15. Just because I shot more than one match at that rule set, and so
Yeah.
it's still kind of tipped odds in the favor of the pistol because you can still load 15 pistol rounds faster than you can load 8 shotgun rounds. But to give the pistol a full 23, just that, I think that's a decision agreed upon by pistol shooters. It's like, oh yeah,
Right.
we don't like shotguns, so yeah,
Well,
we're just gonna have a lot of pistol rounds so we can
And
pistol our way
in the
around
case
it.
of this match, it's the match director is Aaron Hayes,
Mm-hmm.
owns Hayes Custom Guns,
Yep.
shotgun builder,
Mhm.
self-professed, shotgun enthusiast,
Mm-hmm.
but also they build custom pistols. So
Yep.
I do feel like maybe an argument could be made that they're a little bit biased in that area. But
Or even just Texas in general. Texas in general is one of those areas where they tend to not like shotguns.
I don't see that.
I don't know. It's been my experience.
I don't see that.
I have limited
the-
exposure, but
Well, from the people that I shoot with, I don't agree, and those would be Texans. But perception is reality, right? So if
Right.
that's what you think. So I'm with you on the 15 round magazine limit on the pistol. And so Joe Easter, who took second. Wait, no, second or third? Took
Second.
third, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Croft,
third.
Croft Birdsall Easter,
yeah.
right?
Yep.
Yeah, so Joe Easter, who took third this year at the Magpul Texas 3-Gun Championship with actual iron sights on his Kel-Tec rifle. Actual irons. He's given me quite a bit of shit for, meddling with the rules for limited.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason that I think that the rules should be changed is the same thing that we were talking about with you switching to open division, right? You were telling me before we get on the mics, it's a completely different game.
Mm-hmm.
Where I feel that TAC Ops and limited now are the same game, but with a difference when you come to a long range target,
Mm-hmm.
right? When you start throwing in an 8-round tube limit
Mm-hmm.
and limitations on magazines to where you actually have to do magazine changes on your
Mhm.
rifle,
Mm-hmm.
and then 15-round magazine limit maybe on the pistol,
Mm-hmm.
now that becomes a completely different game.
Yeah.
Because now instead of having a 20-round pistol string where you do no mag changes,
Mm-hmm.
there's a mag change in there somewhere, like
Mhm.
almost mandatory mag change.
Mm-hmm.
I think that makes it, like I said, a completely different game to where, similar to USPSA, like production is a completely different game than limited,
Mm-hmm.
which is a completely different game than open.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can.
That's my argument for changes to limited division.
Yep. And I think the main objection that I had to it at the time, other than just liking things the way they were, is those restrictions a lot of times seem to come from people who aren't participating in the division.
Right.
Like it's rarely it seems like it's rare when guys in that division get together and be like, you know what, we've agreed that we all want to be restricted in this way.
right.
It's people who are in other divisions saying that, well, you guys are too much like us. If you guys were real men, you'd use real iron sights. It's like, well, you're using a scope. So
so I get that point,
You know?
but if we're gonna have a conversation about like the greater purpose of the game, then we need to like all stop being pansies of like stay out of my backyard.
Yeah.
Like I'm all for more restrictions on tack. Like the D60 is stupid.
Right.
12-round magazine tube is stupid on a shotgun. You know, if we want to have restrictions on that, that's fine. Let's decide what those are as a community. And I'm not saying it only needs to be limited. I'm just saying that limited has the capabilities of the division have now raised to the point where it's not any different than tack.
True.
So that's what I'm saying, right? And like open has traditionally always been the top end where anything goes.
And I guess, yeah. So I guess I've been talked into being neutral on the restrictions for limited on magazine capacity. The main thing is what I don't want is that someone who wanted to shoot both divisions would have to buy different equipment. Like if
A tube.
No, not a tube, but like if it were to change in some way where it was like if you spent all your money on a 2011, but to shoot limited, you had to have a polymer frame pistol.
Yeah.
So, all right, now that guy has to buy a completely different gun.
Well, and that was one of the complaints about the patrol division at Colorado 3-Gun Championship is there was no single action pistols allowed. So that means no 2011s. So now you had to either use your carry Glock 19 or go do the Garrison thing and get the CZ AccuShadow and then a bunch of Cajun Custom Gunworks parts. And so now you've got to buy a whole new race pistol to shoot one match a year.
But there was still a limited division at that match, right?
No, I understand.
So, yeah. Well, what I think is interesting, though, is we have the inverse happening at the same time in heavy division. In heavy division, to try and get more participation in it, they keep trying to make it more like Tech Ops.
Yeah.
So that somebody will try it.
Right.
So, that somebody will get into it. So I think it's kind of interesting how
so
inverse is happening.
I'm willing to talk about heavy too, and apparently you're never supposed to talk about heavy division if you don't shoot heavy. But I don't understand the hate for the pump shotgun, but if you want to shoot semi, I'm down for that. The problem I have is the 10-round magazine limit in the pistol makes it unenjoyable to shoot. Like 5 more rounds would make that a lot more enjoyable. Because like 10-round magazines with a 45, like that takes up so much damn room on your belt.
That's true. And there's a lot of people who don't have that much real estate to carry that many mags.
Yeah. Well, have you seen a lot of the guys? They'll have like the 2 deep and the 3 deep magazine holders. Like that's just insane.
It adds unique flavor to the division.
For sure. But it also makes it so no one wants to shoot it.
Right. And the other interesting thing then, too, is if you increase the magazine capacity, then all the guys who traditionally like heavy, the very few that there are.
Oh, yeah. Then now they got to go buy new
equipment.
now
the 1911s are relevant, and they have to buy either a 2011 or some sort of polymer pistol.
Just kill it then. It's on live support.
Yeah, heavy is quite a conundrum of how.
And I don't think you can have like a rational conversation about it either because people get so emotional.
It's weird, and like my opinions on it are always kind of like, well, what would get me to try it, and I'm kind of, I don't want to buy a pump shotgun. I don't own one. I've never had one. So like, if I could shoot the shotgun that I had with a major power factor pistol, I would do it. I think I have I do kind of conceptually have a hard time with allowing a 9mm pistol in a division called heavy metal.
Yeah.
But like, I'm one of those guys who I think. Here it comes, people. I'm one of those people who think, you know what? I think 40 should be the minimum. You should allow 40 Smith & Wesson at major power factor, and that should be the floor. You don't have to if you don't want to. You can shoot 45 if you want to, but like I would shoot a USPSA limited pistol, a real one.
Yeah.
Major power factor, in the semi-auto shotgun that I have and a 308 rifle.
As
And
much
that
as-
is that's a division that I would try.
As much as I hate 40, I think that's actually a pretty reasonable idea because that already exists in another sport, USPSA, right?
Right. And those guns are
So,
out there, you know.
yeah.
So
And they're well, and on the secondary market, they're pretty cheap too
right.
because nobody fucking wants a 40.
Only USPSA guys.
Oh god, 40 so terrible.
It's the only,
But yeah, I mean,
the only thing worse is 38 Super Comp.
380 auto.
There's a guy at our local club. He bought a 38 Super Comp recently on purpose, brand new.
Oh
And we're just like, dude. He's like, yeah, I know. And I'm like, dude.
I think it's funny that you specified that it was on purpose.
Yeah, no, he did it on purpose. He waited the 2 years too.
Oh man. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I think you're right about the. I think you're right about 40. I go back and forth on the shotgun. Like I can understand from, like just a pure enjoyment standpoint of wanting a semi, especially for people that have. I don't know. So one of our friends, Mo Shaw, he likes to shoot heavy, but he has like a shoulder problem that doesn't allow him to shoot pump shotgun.
Oh.
Which I get, but then you're making like an entire rule set for a whole game based on one individual.
Right.
And when I shot pump, like I was actually enjoyable. It was kind of fun. It's silly.
Yeah. It's nuanced that I could get into.
Yeah.
But like for me to shoot heavy in 45, I have 45s. I have all the mags for 45s, but I
Right.
do need to buy completely different belt equipment, and that's usually what stops me.
Yeah.
Like even there was one winter where I was like, it'd be kind of cool to shoot revolver. Like I almost bought one.
Dude, I really want to shoot revolver for no good reason.
But what stopped me was the investment in a belt rig.
Yeah, like the moon clips and
The
the
yeah.
holdy thingies. Those
Yeah.
are so expensive.
Yeah, all of that jazz. It was like that's what pushes it from the I'd try that to what, it's not that cool
Yeah.
that I want to spend the money on it. So like
I tell you, I only want to do it because watching Jerry shoot a revolver,
yeah.
guy's a master. It looks so cool.
Yeah, and I wanted to buy a 625 too.
Yeah, me too.
Even though the rules have pretty much negated that, and now revolver's
right?
a 9mm game. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
but I watched him set the record when I was a very impressionable age,
Same here.
and he did with a 625. So that was. I asked him last summer if he still had that gun, like we still had it.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he does. Or well, I guess I was curious if he still had it or if it was like in a museum somewhere. But he said he still has it. So
Yeah.
I don't know how
Yeah.
often he shoots it or whatnot, but
So, what other any changes you would make to TAC Ops?
changes I would make to TAC optics. I guess the question on TAC optics in the world that we're in right now, that we're in the post-apocalyptic three-gun nation era where there's no Pro Series anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in the vacuum left by the Cold War of the Pro Series. So everybody flooded into that division because they wanted to compete on that in that arena.
Right, they wouldn't be on the show,
Yeah, and so now
literally.
so now that the tide has gone out on that and people have started spreading back into other divisions. I mean, look at how many people have jumped into open.
Yeah.
Look how many people, Limited took off a couple years ago and Open took off last year and this year, just from my perception. So I would go back, if we were going to change TO, question is, what's the purpose of TO now? This is
It's a place to shoot a scoped rifle.
yeah, so this is scope tactical. So, the tactical is still always there. So tactical optics. So like, if I guess restriction-wise, I think the loophole on the shotgun capacity should be closed.
I think so too. I'm down for closing the loophole on both those. Let's pick a number and let's stick to it. And I think it should be different, only because they're different divisions.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going 8 and 10. That way, you know, you can't just stuff a quad off the bat and start wailing away.
Mm-hmm.
You stuff deuces off the bat, but
To differentiate between an open rifle and a tactical rifle, what would you think about like a weight limit on a tactical rifle?
I don't know what that would do. I think that's silly because I think it's 100% personal preference. Like I've got a 10.5 pound rifle that I'm completely happy with.
Mm-hmm.
And I know dudes that are shooting 6-pound rifles that they're completely happy with. I think that the offset irons are silly. And, I know, controversial, right? And using the throw lever should be part of the tactical optics game. It's a skill, right?
Oh, sure.
And it's too much like the offset red dot for the for open. While I do admit that a red dot over irons is a very significant advantage. So maybe get rid of that. But I think definitely the limit it to double stack box fed magazines no more than X long. And that should be basically 40 round PMAG.
Yeah. Well, and here's the other question. As the tactical world evolves, right?
Right.
It is tactical optics. At what point do we start allowing red dots on pistols? Would limited division remain the iron-sighted division, and could tact optics become the red dot pistol no compensator division?
Yes. Yeah, I think it can. And I bet it will.
I'm curious to see how that evolves, because the tactical market, I think I'm in a pretty good position to say on that. I would say the tactical market is definitely going to be that way in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Or at least leaning heavy that way.
Like I've seen cops for sure rolling around with dots on their pistols. So
there are. I would say a lot of the agencies that we talk to are in the exploratory and approval phase.
I'm just saying that I have seen it in person. Like,
oh, yeah.
If I wanted to get my finger broken, I could have touched it. Like that kind of thing.
Right. But like agencies are there.
So what I'm trying to say is like once it trickles down from the exploratory to like the actual dude on the street that's getting coffee at Starbucks has one.
Yep.
That's like a legit thing.
Yep. Or we'll even see where it goes. I think we'll see where it goes beyond being authorized for use. Most people right now, or most people, agencies right now are looking at, well, are we going to authorize these for use? And then, but nobody's talking about, or I haven't specifically spoken to any agencies about mandating their use.
Oh, yeah.
When it crosses over into, cadets get dot pistols straight out of the academy, that's just how it is.
Yeah.
That progression, how that progression plays out, and then how it trickles down into our sport, I think will be interesting to watch.
I wouldn't wait for that.
Front seat for it.
I really wouldn't wait for that though, because there's still, agencies that are not quite sold on variable power optics for rifles.
Still agencies that aren't sold on red dots for carbines. So
exactly. So I don't know if I'd let police departments specifically dictate that.
Oh, I don't think they do, but I think the trend is one's going to follow the other. I don't think it should be. I don't think it'll be tied specifically to law enforcement. I think right now, especially with carry optics being a legit division, air quotes legit division in USPSA, and the proliferation of red dots on pistols, like specifically in the tactical market, not necessarily law enforcement. I think that is what is going to make that change. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm interested to see how it plays out, because as soon as that happens, you pretty much got to have it. As much as
sign that said Atlanta next, right? How long have we been driving?
Oh man.
Did we pass Tennessee and we're in Georgia?
Is this the Twilight Zone?
That one said Boston Road. What the hell? Oh,
But because the dot pistol is a huge advantage. I didn't want to admit it, people. I was a curmudgeon the whole way. Kind of
yeah, because you
kind of
you
fell
even
into
said
it.
on the show that if you ever shot open, that you would still shoot an iron sight pistol.
Yeah. Gosh, I was stupid.
Silly goose.
Yeah, I kind of came into it. I won't say by accident, but it was the perfect storm. And the advantage is real. The instant that it's legal in TO, that is the new bar. That's what you need, and you're outclassed in an iron-sighted pistol. So now you would be making a bunch of people's equipment irrelevant, and that would be controversial.
Right.
Because now.
But if you make it optional instead of mandating it.
Oh yeah, it's optional, but it would. But from a competitive standpoint, like all
that's what
top 20% people are going to.
That's what quad loading did.
Yeah,
That's what the D60 did.
right.
It just becomes one of those other things that you have to buy.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, as an enthusiast, I think it's going to be interesting to observe people's reactions and
Massive amounts
the
of
silly
whining.
arguments that they're going to have.
Well, I tell you what, whenever I propose magazine tube limits, on your shotgun,
Mm-hmm.
people complain that, oh, are you going to buy me a new tube? Like, yes, I will buy you a new $43 tube.
Yeah,
Like, come on, man. Like,
that is a weak sauce argument.
it's such the smallest expense in this game. It's ridiculous. And you don't even need a new mag spring. You just cut your old one.
There you go. Get double the use out of that spring.
Mm-hmm. Enjoy your new division. Well, you think we've upset enough people?
Now let's scratch one more topic.
All right. Let's talk about volunteerism.
Volunteerism. What are you talking about, Dave?
So, I observed in some matches that I'm at that they're significantly understaffed in a lot of areas,
Mm-hmm.
and it's difficult to staff matches, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's so many shooters out there that, like, if we all, I mean, it's like the taking care of your neighborhood thing. If you all pick up one piece of trash, there's not going to be any trash anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And all it takes is like one piece of trash a day.
Mm-hmm.
So if there is like a movement of volunteerism in our sport where every single one of us that shoots 3-gun on a national level or club level, when there is a major match in like our air quote local area, right, within a couple hours, we make an effort to help out, pitch in with that match with things that fit our skill set. And if we have like a marketing skill set, I'll help with marketing for it. If you're good at talking to people, you can be a sponsor coordinator. If you're good at writing emails, you can correspond to the shooters. If you're good at chasing people around, holding one hand in the air, you can be an RO. If you know how to run an iPad, so you could be the timer, or excuse me, the scorekeeper. Like, there's so many different jobs to make a match happen, especially a major match.
Mm-hmm.
That we shouldn't always have like a vacuum of people.
Yeah. I think it's. I guess. Where to begin? I guess I come from such a strong community.
Minnesota 3-gun group.
The Minnesota 3-gun group, started by the Minnesota 3-gun group. It's both a place and a organization. But I came up in the sport in such a strong community culture that it's odd for me as I watch it evolve, as I watch the pool of shooters get larger, but also as I've been lucky enough to travel to other areas, and you start to encounter some of these people. Like I remember the first couple of times I encountered individuals who said, well, I don't, I had major matches, pros. They're like, I don't shoot club matches. No, I don't do that. And I was like, what? Like that made no sense to me. How could somebody be in this sport and not be participating at the local level?
Yeah.
That was just foreign to me. But there's places where it's like, oh yeah, no, we just do major. Not even with just that mentality, but just like the way it was culturally different as you went coast to coast. If you go to the Southwest, they didn't have club matches. They just had a lot of major matches. So when they said we only shoot major matches, what they're really saying is we have enough major matches in our region that's how many matches I shoot.
Right.
Whereas we don't have very many major matches in the upper Midwest, at least at the time. So we had club matches. We had more small matches. But over time, as there became more and more intermediate to intermediate to large matches, trying to draw in, let's call it vacation shooters.
Right.
So someone who's taking vacation from their job to go to a destination and shoot instead of going skiing or instead of going to the beach or instead of whatever it is that you do to relax. These people seek out a chance to go to a match. As we have more events competing to draw these people and create a good experience for them and trying to create value in different ways. In some ways, I feel like they have stunted the participation of volunteers by trying to make it full service.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, if you're a shooter, you just come and shoot, in the ideal sense. And that we have these people that take care of the work, air quotes,
Yeah. Well,
but that kind of killed the community, or has kind of burned the community mentality or the volunteerism of, like we all need to help reset.
Yeah.
We all need to, maybe one match a year, maybe I don't shoot as a competitor and I volunteer as an RO or as a scorekeeper, as a Mr. Fix-It. Like I help host one of these events. The obligation or the tendency, the desire to help and not help, but to contribute to one of those events, be it in your local area or one that was special to you, it seems to have decreased a little bit. And that's part of what made us special in the beginning. And so I think that's kind of what we were missing when we were kind of talking about it earlier.
Well, what I see, especially from my standpoint of like starting shooting major matches right around 2016 outside of my state, my local area, is when I traveled to these matches, like I would see the same ROs. And I'm like, well, you can't live in Texas and South Carolina, so what's your deal, And it's just a genuinely good person that likes to, facilitate a good time for other people, give up their own vacation, their own personal time, etc. But I don't think that's sustainable because, like,
it's not.
Chris Wiseman's an example. He's at so many damn matches when, if and when Wiseman decides, like, that's enough for me. We don't have a match missing an RO, a good RO, a competent RO, a very experienced RO. We have a dozen matches missing an RO. So it's going to take 12 people to step up and replace that hole, right? So one of the ways that I think can be done is something I ripped off from you like years ago when we were talking. You like to RO the Nordic Vortex Trigun because that's your home match, right? And so all these people are coming from around the country, so as a good host, you want to show them a good time by being a competent RO at the match.
Yep.
And I think that model is something that we should all strive to do. And I've chosen
last year I made a commitment to do that with one match a year. Last year it was the Big Bend Blast and Dash. This year is Texas Three Gun Championship. Might end up being some more, who knows. But I think that there's so many of us that just come and take from the sport.
Yes.
And we should be giving back to the sport as well. And the reason is this is a small hobby sport.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have enough money or participation to be a full-time income or living for most people. So we need those volunteers to be able to make sure it happens.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, hey man, you RO this match and I'll shoot, and then when next time I'll RO the match and you shoot.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, let's take turns.
Yeah, well, and the other interesting thing about that too, because the retort to that, a lot of people will say, well, I would pay more to go to a match where they paid staff.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that the gap between how much money is available for that kind of thing, or what an attainable amount, what the market would bear for that kind of thing, and what you'd have to pay those people doesn't buy you the kind of competent people that you need, unless they're just they're just volunteering their time anyway. It's like the people that you need. I mean, yeah, you can give them $50 a day, but I mean
that's an insult.
Yeah, it's kind of insulting to them. Or some of them have jobs they're not allowed to accept that money. It's like it's.
Oh really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm thinking of one individual in particular.
Do you know what their profession is?
Yes. They're involved in the financial sector.
Oh, okay.
So they are not allowed to accept it. Well, if they do, it's a lot of paperwork and there's background checks involved.
Oh,
and,
right.
All that kind of
yeah,
stuff.
conflict of interest stuff.
Yeah, conflict of interest stuff. So the club has offered to pay this individual before, and they won't accept it because they're like, no, you just throw it in the general fund if you're going to pay me. So that doesn't necessarily work,
dude. $50 a day though is nothing,
right?
And again, like considering my hourly rate, like that does not even make me excited. But
no.
Give me like a good cause to be a part of, then
right? Yeah, and I think there was. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. So we have a lot of brand ambassadors now, right? People who are in their tertiary income or offsetting their hobby, they're representing companies, right?
Right.
Became popular. One of the first people to kind of start. I don't know if someone would probably get mad if I said he started it, but certainly someone who was there at the beginning or near the beginning. Jesse Tischhauser was one of the first people who kind of really
in the modern era
capitalized on that, right?
In the modern era.
Yep. Jesse still volunteered at a match. I forget which one he said it was, but he picked out one or two and he said publicly oh yeah, that's the match that I RO every year. Or that's the match, so even him, the guy who's kind of the model that a lot of people either directly or indirectly are basing their ambassadorship on, even he did it. And so there's we were kind of talking the other day that we feel like there's a lot of people who feel like it's kind of below them, like, oh no,
right.
I'm a pro shooter. I come to matches to win. It's like, well, that's cool, but at some point you should, there was a term in agriculture, save some for seed.
Yeah.
You still you gotta put a little bit. You got to put a little bit back so that you have something for next year.
Yeah.
So when you look at matches like we just came from Texas Three Gun Championship, they're short on ROs. There's
I wasn't specifically going to say that match, but
I mean it's not unique to them.
No,
it's not unique to them. I try to scratch up ROs every year for my match.
Yeah, that's true.
And even then, you get some people wonder sometimes how certain individuals who aren't very good ROs or are abrasive or something, how they keep coming back. It's like, well, a lot of times match directors are faced with the choice of a vacant slot or calling that guy.
Yeah.
You know, like, you need his help. You know, you'd gladly pick somebody else, but, you know, there is nobody else. So he's there and volunteering, so you try to use him.
Yeah.
You know, so I think but it comes out of a sense of community, which is really what we're talking about in volunteerism. Like, you don't have to be an RO, you don't have to be a scorekeeper, but hey, I mean, they need help setting up, you know, or at the club level, you know, do you show up in time to help set up, or do you roll in right before the shooters meeting? That kind of stuff. I mean, every little bit, that all adds up, because if you aren't doing it, somebody's doing it, and it's probably the guy who's doing more than one thing.
Yes.
And speaking as someone who has burned out on that kind of thing in various aspects, like, I mean, it doesn't take very long before all of a sudden, well, you don't have somebody doing that anymore, and everyone wonders where the match went.
Yeah, man. We saw that last year with the Colorado Three Gun Championship.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Kevin Travis was a incredible stage designer and good match director, and he definitely burnt out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not hard to do, you know, especially if you're not feeling appreciated for it, you know. Yeah, gosh. You know, I don't know. I don't know how many times we can go around, but I think giving back, choosing a match a year to RO, to help out score keep, to be Mr. Fix-It, whatever, I think that's very important for the future of our sport. And I don't mean for future generations of our sport. I mean for the sport existing, period. Mm-hmm. Because you're going to see matches just not be able to have ROs. And then you're going to either have a 5-stage match, or you're going to have that no one's going to come to, because there's only 5 stages, or you're going to have no match at all.
Yep. But I would just, even if you've not contributed to a match, whether you have one local or not, I've traveled across the country to RO matches. Some of my best match experiences, like fun-wise, have been matches where I was involved with the staff.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just my personality, but I do like to come to matches and try to focus and do my thing and try to win. I mean, obviously that's the driving force behind participating in the sport, but also there is a different satisfaction that comes from being a part of putting a match on.
Yeah.
And I definitely felt that, especially for my local community matches. I had way more fun at the Tri-Gun the years that I worked the match than the one year I tried to take it seriously and tried to win it. And so, you know, I asked to come back this year as a staff person. Not only that, but I also, in addition to that, I match direct my own match, and this year I'm also range master for another new match. So, like, you know, I'm not saying everyone has to do it on my level, but, you know, I'm not just saying this hypothetically that other people not me should volunteer for stuff. It's like, you know, I think everyone should, you know, depending on what your skill set is, what you have to contribute, but at least consider, you know, contributing back to some of these matches, because that's really what makes them special, and you might get more out of it than you really think on the surface of it. So.
I agree. And anytime you put something out there as like an opinion, someone's going to have a problem with it and think like, oh, you know, I don't see you out there running a timer. Oh, whatever. These are my opinions. If you don't like them, come fight me.
Yeah, I think someone said that about me this weekend, or something along those lines.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway, so that's that. I think that that about covers it for the topic that I had here, Adam.
Yeah.
I will just one more time around. I do strongly encourage anyone who, you know, who loves and enjoys this sport to just find some way to help out, and that can be your local match and stuff. And I don't think a good idea is to go and create a whole new major match with a prize table and everything. Find a current match that you can contribute to, whether it's your club match, whether it's your like a major in your area or a major that you love to shoot yourself and that you want to go and contribute to, help out in some way.
And like I think when you talk about like your intro to 3-gun class, you know, you say like a lot of people are seeking permission to go shoot. We're giving you permission.
Yeah.
Your local match director wants and needs your help, but they're not going to seek you out. They're immersed. But rest assured, they want your help. Track them down. They're not going to bite you. Just, hey, I'm interested in helping. What can I do? I'm sure they will have a list of things for you to choose from.
Absolutely. All right, Adam, thanks again for the multi-topic conversation, answer, question, Q&A, extravaganza, variety hour.
And hey, man, we made the state line.
Did we?
We're in Arkansas.
Oh, thank God. Oh, God, Texas is so big.
If you are finished, unload, show clear.